today's video, I've got for you 3 delicious winter salad recipes that you need to try before the new year. I've also made a PDF guide that you can download for free that gives you the framework to make the best salads using seasonal ingredients this winter. So instead of waiting for 2026 to start eating healthy, like most will, let's all join together and start today. And if you're new here, my name is George. I've been a chef for 10 years and I basically just cook all day, every day. So let's get started. First up, we're making a roast squash and mixed bean salad with a roasted garlic, chipotle and mango dressing. And trust me, you won't want to miss that dressing. I've got one of my favorite squash, a delicata. It's lovely and sweet and nutty. They also have quite a soft skin compared to other squash, making them great for roasting. So I'm just going to cut it in half and remove all the seeds. And then I'll cut it into these lovely half moon shapes. I'm also going to roast a whole garlic bulb for the salad dressing. We'll just chop off the top. This is quite a small garlic bulb, so it won't take long to cook. And then put your garlic bulb in some foil. We're going to drizzle over just a little bit of olive oil and then just wrap that up. And that will roast with the squash. For the seasoning, I'm going to do some coriander seeds, which have a lovely citrusy flavor. And we're also going to add a little bit of fennel seeds as well for that really nice anise sort of flavor. I always put a tea towel down while using the pestle and mortar. It's a lot less noisy and it's just easier to control. I love using whole spices and grinding them fresh. They just have so much flavor than the pre-ground ones, or at least I like to when I have time. You also get to control how fine you grind the spices. I like to keep them slightly coarser than the usual ground spices you get from the supermarket. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil to this squash, the ground coriander and fennel seeds, a little sweet smoked paprika, and some granulated garlic. And then season with the usual salt and pepper. I find granulated garlic is great for roasting because it doesn't tend to burn, compared to using the really fine ground stuff or even fresh garlic sometimes as well. Can burn when roasted. And then get in there with your hands and give it a good massage so that the squash is all nice and coated in those spices. I find using your hands is the best way to get a really good even coating. And then we'll roast that until it's beautifully caramelized, and we'll also throw in that whole garlic bulb and cook it until it's also caramelized and sweet. Those are looking perfect. You want to roast them so they've got a nice bit of color, but not so much that they're falling apart. This guy isn't quite soft and caramelized enough, so I'm going to pop him in for another 10 minutes. For this incredible mango and chipotle dressing, we're of course going to start with some mango. This was frozen mango that I've just defrosted. Then we've got the garlic that we roasted. It's now lovely and soft, and it's going to be beautifully sweet. Really nice. I'm going to go for 1 teaspoon of chipotle, a fairly large teaspoon though. We've got some good sweetness in the mango and the garlic, so we can get a nice bit of heat in there. Next we're going in with 1 lime. I'm going to add the zest and the juice. The smell when you zest a lime is just the best thing ever. Lime zest can be slightly bitter, but since we've got the mango and the sweetness from the garlic, it's going to be absolutely fine. It wasn't the juiciest lime, so I might add some vinegar as well. We'll see how it goes. And you know you like olive oil when you buy it 5 litres at a time. Start with a couple tablespoons of olive oil. You could make this just with water as well if you wanted to go oil-free. I will add a splash of water as well, just to help thin it out. And of course a little salt and pepper. And then just blend until smooth. It tastes absolutely incredible, but I'm just going to add a little splash of red wine vinegar just to make it slightly less sweet. Okay, time to bring it all together. We're going to go in with our roasted squash. 1 can of bean salad. I believe we've got chickpeas, kidney beans, and butter beans in there. Fresh coriander. Just adding a few toasted cumin seeds for that really lovely earthy, sweet floral flavor. And then of course that incredible dressing. And then just give that a good old mix up. The colors are absolutely incredible. Look at that. Of course, we can't not drizzle over some extra dressing at the end. A few extra cumin seeds as well. Really good. Beautifully roasted and caramelized squash. Then you've got lots of fragrant flavor coming from the spices, the cumin, the coriander, the fennel seeds, really tasty. And then finally, that smoky, sweet and spicy Chipotle mango sauce just brings everything together. Insanely tasty. Give this salad a go. Next up, we've got a roast cabbage and crispy chickpea salad with a really lovely pomegranate and herb dressing. If you haven't tried roasting your cabbage, then that has absolutely got to change. Sure, it's great braised or in slaw, but roasting it until charred just makes it beautifully sweet and delicious. Start by just removing the core from the cabbage, and then we're going to simply roughly shred it. About 1 centimeter thick, I would say. I'm going to use a white and a red one, just for a bit of variety in color. Not really sure if the flavor is particularly different. I'm not going to do anything elaborate for the seasoning of this cabbage, just simply salt and pepper. We've got lots of flavor coming from the chickpeas and the salad dressing, of course. And then get in there with your hands and get it all nice and coated in that oil and seasoning. Maybe could have chosen a slightly bigger bowl here. And then we'll roast this until tender, but still with a slight bite and charred around the edges. For the roast chickpeas, we're going to start by just breaking up a few of them with a fork. And this is going to make them extra crispy, which is going to be really tasty in this salad. Breaking them up is going to create more surface area so they get incredibly crispy. I won't break them all up, just a few, so there's sort of a variety in texture. Then we'll add a nice glug of olive oil. This will be essential for getting them lovely and golden and crispy. I want to make these sort of Persian style, so I'm going to start with a teaspoon of sumac, which has an amazing fruity, citrusy flavor, really incredible. A few lightly crushed coriander seeds, just a touch of turmeric, ground cumin, and just a touch of smoked paprika. This is optional, but I'm just gonna do a little dusting of cinnamon, kind of freestyling it now, just adding a bunch of delicious spices, really jazzing up these chickpeas, and then we'll just mix all those spices through so that they're all nice and coated. And there you go, they look amazing already, and we haven't even cooked them yet. So I'm gonna spread them out on the tray and roast until beautifully crispy. The cabbage is now lovely and roasted. You've got really nice caramelized bits, and it's still got a nice bit of crunch left in it. Now, some people say that salad must have some kind of salad leaves in it, but for me, as long as there's some vegetables, fruit, grains, beans, nuts, seeds, anything like that, and it's covered in a delicious dressing, then for me, it's a salad. The chickpeas are now lovely and golden and crispy. You've got a few whole chickpeas in there, which will still have a bit of softness inside, and then smaller bits, which are just going to be all crunch. Whenever I'm using raisins or sultanas, I tend to rehydrate them just a little bit in some boiling water. Just makes them slightly less dry, and we'll just leave them there for maybe 5-10 minutes. Now for this salad, we're making an incredible charred lemon dressing. So all you're gonna do is simply place your lemon halves into a dry, hot pan, about medium high, and just leave them for 2 to 3 minutes to get really nice and caramelized, and it's gonna add a lovely flavor to the dressing. And that is the kind of color that you're looking for. Absolutely beautiful. It's gonna add a really nice complex flavor to this dressing. They're also much easier to juice once they've been heated up, which is a nice little bonus. For the charred lemon and pomegranate dressing, we're gonna start with a few coriander seeds, 1 tablespoon of pomegranate molasses, which is amazingly tangy and fruity, tangy, sweet, so delicious. Splash of red wine vinegar for some extra acidity. That was a bit of a big splash. And then we're going to add some fresh herbs. We've got a small handful of fresh parsley and some fresh mint. Happy to leave the parsley stalks in, but definitely take the mint off of the stalks. They're just a bit too woody. Poppy down. And then of course a little pinch of salt and a crack of black pepper. Nearly forgot a couple tablespoons of olive oil. And then we'll just blend that until smooth. I'm also going to add a couple ice cubes. This will help stop the blender from overheating and discoloring the green herbs. That is super delicious, slightly bitter, so I'm just going to add a touch of maple syrup. Mint can be quite bitter, and also the pomegranate molasses is slightly. Start with that lovely charred cabbage, then the crispy chickpeas. Actually, I'll keep some back to go on top so they actually stay crispy. And I'm just going to add some chopped pistachios. I'll keep a few of them back as well actually to go on top. And then that vibrant herby dressing. And then just toss to coat everything nicely. Those chickpeas are so good. This salad is absolutely packed with different textures. You've got the charred cabbage, which has a slight chew and a little bite at the end. Then you've got the crispy chickpeas and the pistachios giving some crunch. You've got the raisins, they add a nice sort of chewy and juicy element to it. Really good. And then in terms of flavor, you've got all the spices in the chickpeas, which just sort of perfume the whole salad, which is really beautiful. And then that bright dressing just gives a really nice tang and freshness. And last but not least, we've got a curried parsnip and kale salad with crispy lentils and a delicious creamy balsamic and date dressing. I've got one mega parsnip here and I'm just going to quickly peel it first because it has got quite rough skin. And then we'll just remove the dry bottom and top. And then we'll just chop this into equal sized chunks. Some people like to remove the core of the parsnip because it can be a little bit bitter or a little bit tough. But I find if you roast it enough, it will go lovely and soft and sweet and caramelized. So I just leave it in and that's less wastage as well. Start with a tablespoon of olive oil and the usual salt and pepper. Parsnips can take a good amount of salt and pepper. They've got a really strong flavor. Then for spices, I'm keeping it really simple and using a pre-made curry powder, plus a little extra turmeric for that lovely golden color. I'm going to use my hands again to mix this up, which I might regret due to the turmeric, but it should be okay. As long as I don't get it on my white t-shirt. So just get that parsnip really nice and coated in the curry spices. And that's going to get roasted until golden and caramelized. And then once roasted, it should look like this, beautifully golden, caramelized, and the edges will be going a slightly darker brown. Really delicious. So crispy lentils, incredibly simple. I've just drained them and dried them really well with a tea towel, and then I'm going to add a good glug of extra virgin olive oil. Going for a simple seasoning with these, just gonna go for salt, pepper, and perhaps a little bit of dried thyme. Just gonna add about a teaspoon of dried thyme, that'll be really nice. Give them a good toss in the oil. I've used some canned green lentils here. You can cook your own green, brown, pre lentils. Just make sure not to overcook them. And they're going to get roasted until lovely and crispy. Full crispy, nutty and Moorish lentils, perfect for a winter salad. So for this salad base, we're going to do some massaged kale. So add a little drizzle of olive oil, a small pinch of salt, and a squeeze of lemon juice. And then we're just going to go to town on it. This is going to break down the fibers in the kale, make it easy to digest and just less chewy essentially. This is really a deep tissue massage for the kale. So that has wilted down to about half the size it originally was, so it's going to be much easier to eat and digest. We're going to add those crispy lentils, keeping a few to sprinkle on top. The curried roast parsnip, also adding some sliced dates for a lovely caramelly and chewy texture. Next I'm going to add some fresh pomegranate. The way I've always prepared cauliflower is to just put my fingers underneath it and then just give it a good smacking, and eventually they'll just sort of start to pop out. You do need to be fairly firm, but eventually they'll just start flying through your fingers. I'm sure there are other methods. This one is quite good fun. It is a little bit messy though. Love adding pomegranates to salads. Adds a really nice, fresh, juicy burst. Alternatively, you can just sort of crack it open and start picking them out. Up to you. For the creamy date dressing, we're of course going to start with a couple of dates, then a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, I'm using whole grain, a small pinch of salt, and a crack of black pepper, and then a couple tablespoons of olive oil. You could make this oil free and just add water if you wanted. I will add a little bit of water though, just to sort of loosen it a touch, and then we'll just give that a blend. Just going to add a squeeze of lemon juice just to freshen it up a little bit, as it is quite rich. We have got lemon juice on the kale as well, of course. And then generously pour over that lovely date balsamic dressing. And then just toss that through. Gonna coat everything so nicely. It's a nice thick, slightly sticky dressing from the date. Really lovely. Sprinkle on a few extra crispy lentils. There come the pomegranate seeds. I think this salad would be perfect around Christmas. If you've got leftover parsnips or carrots, you could use them in this on Boxing Day or any day after that. It's got a lovely warming feel to it. You get a nice sort of caramelly chew from the dates. Then you've got the nutty lentils, the warm, spicy parsnips, And then finally, just a nice bit of freshness and crunch from those pomegranate seeds. Really tasty. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to get some more recipes and see a bit more of Mitzi and Poppy, then check out this video.